Hi, today's distribution in our distro hopping series is Garuda. The flavor I installed today is a Dragonized edition. They have quite a few nice additions on their website. I chose this one because for me this one looks the nicest. It has all the bells and whistles you can imagine. I believe that's their favorite distribution as well, because that seems to be the most popular. Let's wait for the live environment to start up. Get there quickly, because the installation basically uses a live environment, so we can see our network working. If you are not on a wired connection, you can set up your Wi-Fi here. Just wait for the installer to do the little housekeeping. I will just open a little Konsole session to see the system details. Just quick to see the IP address. It shows that I am on the network. We have the install button right on the bottom of this welcome screen. Start our installer. Of course, it's going to be a next edition again. Set your location, set your keyboards, set up where to put the system. In my case, I just removed everything. Partitions are pretty straightforward. We have an EFI, we have a swap, and we have the main partition. We'll set up a user here. I guess I'm not going too crazy with the names. We set the hostname here too. Password, again, it's going to be very complex. Yes. And what I will set here is to log in automatically, so we don't use the password, and we will leave it as the same password for the administrator account. Check the summary here. Everything looks good, so we can start with the install. We have to confirm that everything is fine, and we start the install. I'll be right back. It will take a little time. Hold on, just like that. We will do a reboot now. And just like that, we're back to the system. We will have a little housekeeping first. Again, the system takes care of itself. Check our network, it's there. What does it say? Before continuing, it needs to do a few things. So here we are using our administrative password. Searches for the updates, apply them. May take a while. I went with the yes for everything. This package is for Valve. So I thought that they know what they do. Maybe it's a problem for my future self. Took a couple of minutes. System is updated. We can press enter to exit. If I would have an NVIDIA card in here, that would be the place to take care of it. We'll just take a quick look at the Garuda setup assistant. I think a lot of people did that already, so I don't need to really go in depth. But this is where basically you can set up your software centers and all the applications you may use. But the first thing I will take care of is the keyboard and mouse, especially the mouse acceleration. I hate that crap. I don't know who came up with that, but please stop. Now it's looking better. We can go back to the main theme. So back to our assistant. You can set up your keyboard settings or input settings, software, kernels, which one you want to use, Office, etc, etc. Of course, we will put up Brave. And honestly, I don't need to look at the rest. You can explore if you want. It has a few things. Let's pretty straightforward. Once you selected everything, you can apply the changes. For the time being, it will still ask for the sudo password, but we will take care of that a little bit later. So let's just proceed. Probably you will notice that Garuda is based on Arch, so it can use AUR and Pacman. And we are back to the setup assistant. It says that we are done. Back to the welcome screen. Now in the welcome screen, you can see that you have all the essential Garuda related utilities available. You have the assistant, the gaming setup, and all the settings manager, the network assistant, all the boot options. So let's go to Konsole. In Konsole we can see that we are at Plasma 6.1, we are using Wayland, etc. I want to set the shell from fish to bash. Personally I prefer bash because I use it everywhere. Fish is fine, it's okay, I have no beef with it, but for me bash is the tool. Changing the shell is not that straightforward. I mean, it is, but only once you know it. You have to go into the Konsole settings and change the command from fish to bash. It's not the simple change shell command from the Konsole itself. This can be a little bit confusing at first, but once you have it, it's clear. We start Konsole now. And in the title bar you can see that we are in bash. And with the echo $0 it shows us the shell, which we were missing previously, as you remember. And of course we can check it in the password file. By default we have the bash in the password file, but of course Konsole has its own setting. That's why it may be a little bit confusing that when you start Konsole you have fish first. Whatever you do, you change the shell, still bash, you are using bash, but Konsole is set to use fish. Before continuing, I will increase the size of the text so you can see it. It's good now. Do a system update, just to check if everything is up to date, but it is. After all, pretty much that was the first step the system did after the first restart. As the first step, we will now create the GPG key. This will be used by KDE wallet, which we are using to store keys, SSH keys, secrets. It's pretty straightforward. You can use the defaults. I'm not using any password this time. Of course you should, but just go empty, but it will tell you that it's not recommended. It will ask you twice. Let it go. That's it. We have our shiny new GPG key. Next up, it's taking care of that pesky little sudo password request. We know that in Garuda, this is in a subfolder of the Sudoers, so it's in /etc/sudoers.d, and it's in the 10 installer file. Since our user is a member of the real group, all we have to do is just add the no password. And that's it. Save it, but as you can see, we are in the read-only. We have to force the write, so that you can do with the exclamation mark after the W. Once it's done, saved, and if we do a sudo, we will not ask for the password anymore. We're done with that. After this, I enable SSHD, call it a bad habit, but I use it a lot. We want it to start right away. That's why we have the -- now. The next step, I am installing Zoxide here, just to demonstrate that we can use Yay for installing applications. Yay is basically an alias. We will take a look at it later. Zoxide is a very nice replacement for CD. I can only recommend it, it's very useful. I really like using it. So we will have 2 available packages. We'll use the extra because that's a little bit fresher. Quick download. That's it. It's there. We just have to configure the alias in the bashrc. First, let's look at the aliases with the alias command. It shows us everything. As you can see, EA is alias for bauh. We have all these nice settings. Honestly, I'm really happy with the default settings what we have here in Garuda. So if you are using VA, we are basically using bauh. So if you're looking at the bauh help, you see whatever you can do with EA. Bauh is a wrapper for Pacman with additional functionalities. I'll demonstrate a nice little feature. As you can see, I tried to use bauh, but bauh is not found locally, but the find the command utility will help us to find it. We have the installer there. We can read all the details and go ahead with the installation. Now we can try to use bauh again, and fortunately, we'll just run. bauh is another package manager, and yeah, there are times when you are required to use your admin password, which is fine, will not hurt. So, here we have another nice GUI to install applications or tools or whatever you want, or uninstall applications if you want. Has a few settings, and you can also add extra repositories. For instance, if you want Flatpak, you can install it. Now we are back to our original idea that we've set up the aliases in the bashrc, using Kate for it. And I'm zooming in. What I like to do is that, as you can see, we are using eval for replacing ls, but I like to see a little bit more than these default settings. So what I will do is that I add the sorting, and the sorting by the oldest. Here I'm using newest, which is the same. Basically, the newest is on the bottom of the list, and I will set the time style to be relative, which will show that files were modified X amount of time before or earlier, not with the exact timestamp. We'll reload the bashrc. Using the dot is the same as you would type source. Faster. You know, I'm lazy. So, as you can see, we see the relative time of the files, and it sorts the directories first. Now instead of Kate, we will use Vim, but we do the same thing. We edit aliases. Jump to the end of the file with Shift-G and add our line for zoxide. Leave it to Shift-Z, source it again. And now, CD has changed into zoxide. We can use CD as regular, but it will be zoxide, and CDI, which will store all the paths you visited earlier. So now it's empty, but it will become a very useful tool. I think I'm done for now, a little bit. Let's do the last things and start Brave. And this is where the KDE wallet service comes up. Do you remember that we did our GPG key? That's where we are using it. That's it. From now on, Brave will be able to save your passwords. That's all for my base Garuda install. If you have any questions regarding this, put it in the comments and I will answer them. There are a few topics I didn't cover here, like setting up Steam or Windows emulation with bottles. But to be fair, they are just as straightforward as it was so far. But the idea behind this channel is to help everybody to enjoy distro hopping. It's fun. Thank you. See you. Bye.